Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are again, doing a screencast, where I'm just going to go over the rubric. Do I really sound like this? Highlights. Okay, anyway, explain a few things. You still have questions after over what you see before you. Pre-writing guide for the memoir. So I think you're probably all familiar with pre-writing guide. Of course, is based on the idea that before you write a rubric like this, something complex, a dual audience. Any of our assignments, I write it for myself. Do some brainstorming, so that when I'm evaluating, make some decisions. Your memoir. Before you have this thing that I've written that reminds me of what I'm looking for, psychology professor, standards and criteria are. When you're drafting the other audience, piece of writing, you, cognitive load, she calls it, is very high. Clarify the expectations, working overtime, and the skills that we're working when you're writing, when you're drafting. And so, you know, if you look at the rubric, easier on yourself, like a lot to read, brainstorming beforehand. So but really, the thing to focus on primarily at this point, when you're trying to understand the assignment and the expectation details, focus on this easier to write, and you can write better. And so the idea with the pre-writing guide is this column. The four you show me what your decisions are, what your thinking is, and so if you read all the way down, and that's what I'm going to go over, can help you form a basis for your excellent. Now, as I say in the overview, you get a good sense you can do besides the expectations and requirements, brainstorming, some outlining. So I'll just go and touch upon each of these again if you don't remember briefly. Following assignment. Now these first several before you start are skills that are listed, are core skills that carry over into other assignments, and so they're in general terms. In any case, following an assignment means participating in step, you make writing tentative decisions and let me know what they are. So in this case, the writing process means, of course, writing a personal memoir on the topic, evolve and change, addressing the audience as assigned. So it means every step you're setting things in stone by steps where you're help some of your classmates have the right idea. Give them feedback on topic, of course, is peer reviews of drafts, the event that you want to focus on, those steps. So I want a little paragraph here, please. Purpose awareness, explaining why it was important to you. Will make more sense, I think, important with some of our other assignments, but it's kind of very closely linked to audience awareness. Learn from it about that. In other words, the idea of purpose awareness is that if someone found, or about, in this case, your memoir, being a hallway and picked it up, about learning, started reading it, they would understand what it was. Audience profile, the purpose of the piece of writing, the concept of your audience awareness is similar. You know, you not know a member of every piece of writing has a target audience, which might be large and various audience, or might be an audience. And so, as it says, look at the overview. Whoever do this, and remember a piece of target readers are, and this might seem like can recognize whether it's targeted you're just them, whether what I said in the overview, them in mind or with someone else. The theory that having you write it, even though it's regarding that in the piece of writing, you've been told who your audience is. Piece of writing, write it, gives you ownership of what's included and what is left out. That suits the audience. Think about what the audience has a certain level of knowledge of the topic. Read your memoir. The tone, some tone. Why might they be interested in it? Why might they formal tone because of read the beginning and want to continue? Casual tone, word choice. Might they expect or and so on? Genre conventions. Well, that leads into expectation. The reader's expectations. What are they going to? What kind of thing they expect when they read a memoir that? So that's another core skill. Before development is a core skill, so as it applies, the content is going to be. It does apply to every assignment. How formal apply to this assignment, the tone to be, how long do they expect it to be, it's a fully realized think about their attitudes as they're thoroughly developed, specifics are plentiful, in this case that they read, descriptive what do you expect their attitudes to be, individual elements, in this case David Starkey talks about putting yourself in the organization, of course means structure, and that's, you're talking about something that you things like intro, body, or conclusion that happened to you, and how you have sort of standard intro and conclusion. So, do you think? Well, they might think I'm being more essayistic, too honest, or maybe they'll think I'm dishonest. But there still is a structure. It's a narrative person, or maybe they'll question. And as you saw, these kind of things, the three attitudes that are in they might have. David Starkey's chapter. There are other possibilities. Life rower and Hoyas. Are they going to think you're being serious enough? Shaves. What's their attitude? They're not necessarily chronological. Again, the event you're talking more about that next week. Is it in any case something that it's a clear narrative structure? correctness and clarity funny? Is it something they'll think the skill has to do with? Doesn't matter to them until they find out having as few and then they errors how much it does matter. And clarity issues, what I call clarity as they read in your memoir as possible. How are they going to react? You get to on the second page, I'm trying to help you brainstorm and sort of outline. That's important because those errors are distractions. If there's some, as it says, brainstorm and generate for whatever reason, raw material. Which sometimes just has to do with the way you're phrasing things. Sometimes. And so by the time you get to this point, you have an event that you want. Well, those things are going to take away from your reader's understanding. Is made up of those things are important. So, for example, doesn't mean I'm looking for perfection, but few, if any, for example, grammar, spelling, when you read The Long Goodbye, formatting and documentation will be bigger concerns with other kinds of assignments. You'll see, it covers only a few hours. Let's move on to assignment specific one Mother's Day. So we've covered the core skills Mother's Day at a federal prison. But there are certain incidents within that event. For this memoir in particular, there are certain first impressions that she gets. She talks. So one is narration. There's a boy who does which relates back to organization, imitation of Frank Sinatra, to other things that we'll talk about. There's a little incident there, and it's a matter of providing a clear sequence of perfume that your reader identify the relationship in time. And there's a little incident there that makes up part of the larger event that you're focused on, hoping to get you to think about these kinds of things. You're not trying to elements of a few moments out of. And you don't have to list exactly this many as I've made space or something, but you're focusing. You can mostly at least list more. Something that happened over the course of a day or less. As long as you show me that you're really thinking about okay, what are the shaves, what are the sort of steps covers event that I'll be going. A 1 hour class, and then with each one you can list details. Very little that's outside that you'll want to include. About people, about description. The memoir is rich with very concrete, very relevant. And so, if it's an event that begins with arriving, places, objects, etc., that's how something you would put here. Recreate the experience. Think about what your audience. What am I going to try to recreate it? Not just explain it, but recreate it for them. Again, it's playing like a matter of choosing some relevant details that might give a sense. Well, more than a film. So, what does this word concrete mean of that place? Not every single detail. It doesn't mean cement. It means, of course, concrete in the sense of not abstract. Concrete. Okay, so there's that, and then this relates to significance, smellable, on the rubric, feelable in some way. So concrete details. Hopefully, you're not, as I said, just smell trying to tell an entertaining story. Trying to tell, David started talking about that, and you saw demonstrations. That should matter to you, and should matter to your audience included. And so this is where you think about some ideas. So it's you might be trying not to get a matter of and they're not ideas about what talking about something that took place in a classroom. So I'll explain every single thing more broadly to what it might mean. Instead, picking out a few relevant details that give a sense of people in your situation or people of someone's specific situation. In other words, you're trying to give the people broader significance. Objects. So I think back to that in significance of the event is best to think represented. Did I explain statements? Did I general statements that you explain, but could make? You might never state these sentences in a good way to kind of check your biography, but they might be between the lines. Okay, and the last criterion on the rubric is significance. So the example, a memoir doesn't just tell a story like, well, here's some general statement about female drug offenders. It's not about what gives a sense of what it's not about the experience. It's kind of broader, not just what it meant to of the writer or the person and so experienced or witnessed. You guys are going to look at what it means to what significance it has for others, and offer feedback. Why it's an important experience thing, and I've just kind of made a place for me to put my comments. Below this grid rubric, there's some other stuff that relates to rethink significant portions of your pre-writing. I'll make a comment here asking you to grade a draft. If there are some adjustments that you should make sure you carried out every step. And that gives you some adjustments to make before you draft. Again, bottom line 100 points an overall comment, and so about your first 10 points out of that. And so this pre-writing is going to be due on Monday. You've got those base points, but if you miss any of these steps, between now and Friday, we'll poor quality work available a forum for you guys to sort of brainstorm with each other about what topics. The bottom line is just a place for me to make a broad overall comment before you start on. See that. I'll comment on each of these skills. And so as usual, hoping this has answered some of your questions about prewriting, but I'm areas. Welcome. The bottom line is a place to send me additional questions broadly about the paper instead of focusing on a particular aspect. I'll put a letter grade here, and Moodle Gradebook will turn that into a number, and it will contribute to your course grade. And details of that are on the syllabus, or the supplement to the syllabus. And then this is a key. As I look at a draft, I highlight errors in yellow, and I won't identify them for you because research shows that if I just show you places where you need to correct something, you can figure out how to correct those on your own, and you might need to turn to certain resources to figure that out, but you can do it. Blue highlighting means there's some sort of clarity issue. As it says, it might be you chose a word that's not exactly fitting what you want to say, or you use the word he or they or this or that, and we can't tell exactly what it refers to, or you just have some phrasing that's awkward, or you just have sort of left out some details, or you've stated something vaguely. All those are clarity issues. If I underline the entire sentence, that means it's either a sentence fragment or some kind of run-on. So all these things, there could be a sentence that's underlined and there's a word that's highlighted in blue and another word highlighted in yellow. Hopefully that doesn't all happen in one sentence, but it's possible. And so, let me look at my notes for a second, see if I've left anything out. Audience, I think, when I talked about audience, I don't know if I reminded you specifically that you're addressing first-year students in your major. And so, of course, hopefully your topic is something of interest to them. You're talking about an experience that would be relevant to them, that would teach them something about the major or about the profession. Let's see. Looking at my notes, and I think I covered everything. And so, like I said, let me know if you have questions after you